Oh, Bible man, you will always be the greatest superhero. Feel like I'm forgetting something today. Oh yeah, it's the 100th episode. Huh, might as well get started. If I'm gonna do 100 episodes, this one has to be different. Bad movies are close to my heart, and I've covered everything from The Room to Birdemic to things so obscure that they've been forgotten by time. But today the movie is very special. Ask me what my favorite movie is, and I will tell you without skipping a beat that it's Evil Dead 2. Why? Because it bumped down little monsters, but also because the movie is absolutely fantastic. In fact, I named my cat after the main character. Sorry, Bruce Campbell. Anyway, you might be wondering why Evil Dead 2? It's kind of weird for your favorite movie to be in the middle of a series. Well, first of all, the thing you gotta understand about the Evil Dead trilogy is that each sequel is completely retooled. So, it's a continuation, but it's also a semi-remake. So really, you could watch any of these movies by themselves and you'd be okay, but also each movie has a completely different tone. And I love the other two Evil Dead films, but this one will always be my favorite. Let me give you a bit of my history with these movies. The first one I saw was Army of Darkness when it was on television, and I was sick as a dog. So I got to laugh a lot while puking my guts out in between skeletons sword fighting and ash-wooing fair maidens. But also I remember being terribly confused because I was missing some key parts of information. So when things happened, like him fighting tiny versions of himself and then an evil twin growing from inside him, yeah, I had some questions. I also hadn't seen the whole movie, so I was left wondering what this weird fantasy flick was all about. I want to say I was vaguely aware that it was a sequel to something called The Evil Dead, but I had no idea that it was following two incredibly gory horror films, and certainly nothing as dark as the first Evil Dead. I did see all of Army of Darkness eventually, and I got curious about the first two movies. As it turns out, my best friend had a copy of The Evil Dead, so we sat down and watched it together. Now, here's what you have to understand about me back then. My best friend? Horror junkie. Been watching this stuff since about as far back as she can remember. Me? I got scared over when animals attack. I was the biggest weenie in the world. I'd barely seen any R-rated movies, much less a genuine horror film at this point. So when I watched The Evil Dead, late at night with only my best friend, I was freaked out. It was completely different than Army of Darkness, but it was awesome. Of course, later on I've come to appreciate the unintentional comedy of the first movie. There is some intentional humor in there, but it's mostly supposed to be serious. But there are a lot of things that are laugh-worthy, such as young Bruce Campbell struggling under a tiny bookshelf like it's the heaviest thing in the world, twice, seeing an extra's hand push up the cellar door, the obvious fake dummy heads, or changes in cast when the characters become deadites. There is an entire scene parodying a Three Stooges sketch, replacing water with blood. And of course, there are lines like this.
You can't bury Shelley. She's a friend of ours.
Ah, she's dead.
Oh, you bastards. Why are you torturing me like this? Why?
But there are some moments of genius here too. There are shots that leave you scratching your head as to how they did it. Understanding the history of this film makes you appreciate just how far Sam Raimi and company have come. This was their first movie, funded almost entirely by dentists, shot in the worst cabin they could possibly find in the worst conditions, and made using some clever camera tricks and human ingenuity. Take a look at this shot. That's real moonshine, folks. It was cut out of the scene, but they found a local to make moonshine for them because, damn it, they had to try it. I'd highly encourage reading Bruce Campbell's autobiography, If Chins Could Kill, because it's both hilarious and full of these great stories. I could keep going, but I have other things I need to get to. Namely, Evil Dead 2. Going back to my story about seeing the first movie with my best friend, I pretty much shit my pants. So of course I asked if she had the second one, and she didn't. She hadn't even seen it. So we went out, rented it the next night, and watched it. Folks, this movie was made for me. It's the perfect blend of genres, but it's also the main reason I came to love horror comedies. It's still scary when it needs to be, which makes the funny even funnier. The reason I love this movie more than the others? They took what was good about the first one, gave it a budget, and made it even better. But I'm getting a bit ahead of myself. If you are coming into this review not knowing anything about the Evil Dead films, I'll give you a brief overview. The Evil Dead is the story of a bunch of college kids going to a cabin to party and have sex when they find an old tape recorder. They play the tape and hear the voice of Professor Noby, who has found a book called the Necronomicon and reads the passages. This sets loose a bunch of ancient Kandarian demons that possess the kids one by one. The only way to kill them is complete dismemberment, and our brave hero Scotty is able to comply. Then he dies, and Ash has to stop being a complete weenie and kill everybody, including his sister and his girlfriend Linda. The second film chronicles his continued adventures fighting the demons in a cabin, in the process meeting Professor Noby's daughter, some stupid hicks, and Ed, who is a block of wood. I bet you didn't even know his name if you have seen the movie. Unless you saw the musical, in which case, high five. The third movie takes Ash back in time to fight the Deadites, be a big damn hero, and try to get back to the present. Over the course of the films, he becomes a badass with a chainsaw for a hand, and that's pretty sweet. Speaking of chainsaw hands, can we just take a moment to appreciate this? It's just the best thing ever. Not to mention, his severed hand tortures him after he cuts it off in one of the best scenes of the movie.
Son of a...
Other great moments include someone swallowing an eyeball, a scene where Ash laughs maniacally with a deer head and all of the furniture, work shed, swallow this, you bastards, you dirty bastards, and, of course, this. The effects are fantastic here. There's a blend of stop motion, puppetry, and prosthetics. I loved seeing the behind-the-scenes features on how they accomplished some of these things practically, since they didn't have the magic of CGI back then. The walking severed hand? That was accomplished using stump makeup, an actor under the set, and angling the camera around an unevenly leveled floor. If you ever want proof as to why practical effects will always be better, look no further than this movie. The actors in this range from decent to very good. It still surprises me that Sarah Berry, who played Annie, was only ever in one other movie, since she's the best actor here next to Bruce Campbell. She plays the straight person of the film for the most part, without getting too many funny moments, although she does accidentally stab one of the country bumpkins and ends up feeding him to her possessed mother. Just trust me on this one, Annie. You don't want what's on the other side at this point. But like Scotty, she kinda saves Ash's ass a lot of the time. And you could also say that the second movie is partly her story, since her father was the one who found the Necronomicon and read the passages. Her mother is possessed and living in the cellar, and her father's restless spirit goes to them for help. Getting rid of these demons is closure for her, to let her parents be at rest. Speaking of which, can I just say I love Ted Raimi? Yeah, that evil grandma in the suit? That's Sam Raimi's brother under there. If you don't recognize the name, you've seen him. He's had bit parts in the Spider-Man movies, he played Joxer on Xena, he's pretty much been involved with all of his brother's projects. They didn't want to subject the original actress who played Henrietta to the heavy demon makeup, so of course they decided to torture Ted. This makeup was hotter than balls too. He was able to pour sweat out of his little demon booties at the end of the day. This is actually in the finished film too. He turns his head and sweat pours out of his ear. You won't be able to unsee it. It is absolutely disgusting. And I had no idea that this was him for the longest time. Another notable character is Jake, one of the before-mentioned country bumpkins. He is the dumbest son of a bitch. When his girlfriend goes missing, he grabs the passages from the Necronomicon, scoots across the room, and throws them in the cellar with Henrietta. That's so needlessly asshole-ish that it's fantastic. Supposedly Dan Hicks got the role after bringing some fake teeth into the audition. That pretty much made it for them. He's also got no reason to put up the road sign at the broken bridge, other than to get him there to offer to take Annie and Ed to the cabin. It's like he's both lazy and working harder than necessary. It's pretty satisfying to see a possessed Ash throw him headfirst into a tree and then see him get eaten later. Aw, look at this. Overalls still on the skeleton, just so you know it's him. So yeah, Ash was possessed in this. He's saved through the sun coming up and the sheer power of love, both of which are newly introduced ways of fighting off demons, I guess. When he becomes possessed the second time, the audience pretty much loses their main character, which is a little bit alienating. But that's why it's so surprising, because the only person we're left with at this point is Annie. There was also a deleted scene of Ash eating a squirrel, which is sorely missed in the film. But he's saved from possession because he misses Linda, someone he forgets about pretty quickly in Army of Darkness, considering it's apparently a love that conquers evil. Oh well.
Damn it! I said I was all right! Are you listening to me? Do you hear what I'm saying? I'm all right! I'm all right.
About half of this movie is Ash alone in a cabin, with the exception of his dead girlfriend, his severed hand, and a bunch of Kandarian demons, but essentially he's doing all of this alone and going crazy. I can't think of any other movie that could hold my attention with one character, but this one manages to do it. And part of it is, well, Bruce Campbell getting hurt is hilarious. These guys beat him 6 ways from Sunday, and the audience is laughing at him. And that's why it's the perfect blend of horror and comedy, because this is terrifying for our main character. And rightfully so. He's just dismembered all of his friends, his sister, his girlfriend, and he's being tortured by demons. And it is hilarious to watch. His own hand beats him up. Look at the amount of blood coming out of the wall here. That's ridiculous. But I have to say, what makes this work is because there are also moments that are really creepy in this. That's what makes the jokes funny, after all. But probably my favorite moment isn't a comedy bit, it's something I found subtle and spooky. At this point in the movie, Ash has just killed a possessed Linda. He's found a weapon to defend himself, ready to fight what's coming next, and all he finds is a rocking chair. The demons are fucking with him, and not only that, they know they can kill him. But they don't, they destroy everything around him. And I know people make a lot of jokes about Bruce Campbell's acting, Bruce Campbell included, but I genuinely think he's a great actor when he has the right material or the right direction. I get terrified with him and I laugh with him. He's great at saying corny lines and being a smartass, but when I watch Evil Dead 2, I see even more. It's a build-up from the character he was in the first movie to the person he becomes in Army of Darkness. Now, I'd be lying if I said Evil Dead 2 doesn't have flaws. Of course it does. You can see the top of the set at times, which was in a high school gymnasium, by the way. Some of the lines are weird or poorly dubbed, some of the story is contrived, continuity is off, his chainsaw switches hands at one point. It's got a lot of things wrong with it. But, well, when you love a movie, you know every flaw it has. That's because you love it. You want to figure out what happened, how, and why. And truthfully, if you didn't see flaws in something, you wouldn't be a very good movie watcher. And I wouldn't be a very good critic. As silly as it sounds, in some ways, this film has shaped who I am today. The series was my first real horror experience, and the second movie is what made me realize scary can be funny. It helped me to discover more about what happens behind a movie, and also how people with good ideas and a camera can cleverly put something together. It helped me to grow up and cement together some of my passions. To put it simply, it made my life a little bit groovier. And that, my friends, is worth celebrating. So thanks, Evil Dead 2. Thanks for everything. And that is why Evil Dead 2 is so fantastic. I can't think of any other movie that I'd rather review for my 100th episode.
Great job, some of your best work.
Really? Thanks, Welshie.
I can't think of anyone else who could have ruined the movie as well as you.
What are you talking about?
Let's face it, nobody watches your reviews. I've seen the numbers.
Well, I could...
You're not as funny as I am. Heck, you're not as funny as the nostalgia critic, and he's dead.
Sure as hell don't have the same technical skills. I'm going to show your videos to people so they can learn how not to green screen.
Aww.
You sounded like you were in a wind tunnel in your older videos.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Thank you.
Okay, guys, what's going on?
It's time we finally told you the truth about your work.
You're a nobody. You're boring. You're smug.
Hey!
Not you.
Oh! I get it. In which case, I agree.
You have no sense of pacing. I could barely even understand your first videos. I've just started and I'm already miles ahead.
Would it kill you to make your bed every once in a while? I mean, jeez. It's only in the background of all your videos. I mean, your house looks like it smells like dead cats.
What does that even mean?
But why would you clean up anyway? You know no one's watching.
What are you... You're all possessed! You've become deadites! Oh man, this is so gonna ruin any future cameo stuff.
Doesn't matter if we're possessed or not, Lupa. What we're saying is true.
You don't really think that.
But you do, and that's what matters.
Yeah, Fateless's videos suck now because of you.
And Mike Matei's videos.
I've never even talked to Mike Matei. Does he even still do...
Your voice is dopey. Your acting is bad.
Oh man, the acting. You saw To Boldly Flee, right?
She's running around thinking she's an actress. She couldn't even make it past high school drama.
Why are you saying all of these things?
You quit every job you've ever started. You might as well do the same here. You're not doing anybody any favors.
I finished that one thing. You know, the thing.
But really, it's because you can't make anything better. I mean, you want to make movies, but you can't even move out.
Come on, Lupa, who do you think really cares about Cynthia Rothrock? Or She-Wolf of London?
Because you know no one would care, unless they're laughing.
But they're not laughing with you, Lupa. They're laughing at you.
Tears of a clown, baby. Hell, you look enough like one.
Time to pack up and move to Esmar, doll. You are not going anywhere. Fast.
Add up everything that you've ever done, and what have you got to show for it? Jack and shit. Jack left town.
You're right. Never done anything with my life. Nothing as cool as Evil Dead 2. Nothing better than just a stupid internet show. Psst. Never mind that. Just think of me as you, but a better you. I don't get it. I got the answers, man. The answers? The answers to everything. Just listen to me. I promise I will not steer you wrong. All this, you're always going to think it. And you're always going to doubt yourself. Because you know yourself better than anyone. That's why you have to be the person you want to be. Because that's who you're going to have to live with for the rest of your life. I just don't want to fail anymore. What did I do for 100 episodes? You made people laugh. Well, you made me laugh. It can't be all bad, right? I guess. Look, what I'm trying to say is, it's not the big accomplishments that matter, it's how you live your life. You go for it, you fall flat on your face, and you get back up again. How do I do that? Easy. You don't let the demons get in. Yeah. You know what you gotta do now. I can't. You planned this. You said if you ever got to the 100th episode, this is what you were gonna do. You're not gonna back out now, are you? I can't do that anymore. I'm not good like I used to be. You're only as good as you let yourself be. Do you think anyone will laugh? That's the idea, right? Yeah. Yeah, I know I can do this. Because I am good enough. You didn't need me to tell you that. I know what I have to do.
This is the moment. This is the day when I send all my doubts and demons on their way. Every endeavor I have made ever is coming into play. It's here and now, today. Give me this moment, this precious chance. I'll gather up my past and make some sense at last. This is the moment when all I've done, all of the dreaming, scheming, and screaming become one. This is the day. See it sparkle and shine when all I've lived for becomes mine. This is the moment. Damn all the odds. This day or never, I'll sit forever with the gods. When I look back, I will always recall, moment for moment, this was the moment, the greatest moment of them all.
Groovy.
And let me guess, you could have been king?
What? No, I just dismembered all of them. What's all this you could have been king crap?